What is up, everybody? Welcome to Dedicated to the Craft, a podcast brought to you by Ballast. My name is Jeff Lozano, and today's episode is going to be covering a topic that we're very familiar with, especially in this weird world that we're living in now. We're going to be covering cleanliness and our approach to it and how it kind of is a part of our everyday operation at a brewery. When it comes to the brewery, the kitchen, home brewing, it's just a part of the game. So in order to cover that a little bit more efficiently, I brought on some buddies from Ballast Brewing Company, and let's bring them on now so we can have a little chit chat. So crack open a beer and let's get going. Mr. Jason Carlson is joining us. Cody
Literally in the house.
And Noah Schuster. What's up, guys?
Hello.
How we doing?
Hey,
Cheers.
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing great. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, excited. Jason,
Cheers,
I like that
everyone.
background.
Dude,
Ooh,
I know.
Cheers. Does everybody have their mandatory
I
beer?
gotta bring the backdrop with me today, you know?
Very nice.
So anybody that's listening in on Spotify or Apple and they can't see us right now, Jason is coming at us from Mart. So right there we can see all the malt and all the cool equipment that you have back there. If any of you have been to Mart, you'll recognize that if you watch us on YouTube. What's up, guys? Let's talk a little bit about the crazy world we're living in. Everybody's department has focused on cleanliness a little bit heavier in this particular COVID world. And what I kind of want to achieve with this episode is not really telling anybody what they don't already know. You know, wash your hands, cover your mouth. But what as we approach reopening and as we get closer to everybody coming back through our doors, I wanted to just touch on how we approach cleanliness and sanitation on the everyday pandemic or no pandemic. So I thought it was a cool opportunity to just bring you guys on so you guys can talk about what you guys do for the company and how cleanliness and making sure that we're doing all this stuff sanitary and carefully, how it just plays into our everyday life. So that's what the general conversation is going to be about. Is that cool with all?
Sounds good.
Hell yeah. Dude, Jason, anybody that's listened to this show before, you guys know Mr. Jason Carlson, homebrew advisor at Homebrew Mart, rock and roller, beer tender extraordinaire.
My backdrop's a little different today. You know, I don't have the man cave with all the, the records and stuff. But
yeah. It's cool, man. I like it. Cody Carlin, dude, our executive chef at Ballast Point Miramar, all the delicious food and restaurant operations. Man, that's his domain. And then we got Noah Schuster, who is our quality lab or quality department dude, microbiology and all things clean. But we'll start with Jason, just so that we can start talking about cleanliness in a brewery from the roots. Let's talk about how cleanliness plays into homebrewing in general.
Well, I mean, really, some things I tell, because I know the classes, beginning and advanced classes and stuff. I always tell everyone, one of the things you really need to keep in mind is cleaning and sanitizing all your equipment through the process. Make sure all that's straightened out. It is pretty important. They don't want any spoiled beer here. Especially if you're home brewing. It's funny, actually. I home brewed. Starting to actually home brew again, as opposed to brewing out in the back over here. Took my grandfather home, so I'm doing home brewing.
Oh, nice.
My neighbors would want to get into it. He wanted to learn how to brew. So I'm like, dude, let's do it. So I'm just teaching about making sure everything's clean and sanitized, especially in his garage.
Oh, I bet, dude.
But no, I mean, first, especially for home brewers, it's you want to make sure you always want to make sure your beer is good, for all your friends. One of the things you can do, is couple things we have here, some cleaner and sanitizer. There are kind of two different things. The cleaner gets all the gunk off inside, say like your fermenter and your glass carboy. And then you got to throw some sanitizer and sanitize everything. You got to have both of them. We use PBW, Pub Brewery Wash, which is basically this powdery stuff right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like the OxyClean, you know, it just kind of gets everything off there, you know. But
you're the Billy Mays. You're the Billy Mays of Ballast Point right now.
Throw it in there, you know, on the Emerald Lagasse right here.
Well, dude, you know, it's funny because, you know, when I started reading reading more literature on brewing, every bona fide brewing how-to book out there starts pretty much the same. It's clean, 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 sanitation, sanitation, sanitation. And it's kind of like, important. Yeah. And it was a running joke in the brewery for a long time. It's like, we just clean. 95% of what we do is just make sure that things are clean, right?
Yeah, it's, you know, it's definitely when you're going into more of the advanced kind of like all grain brewing, you're using a lot of more equipment. You know, depending on what you're doing, you could have a couple orange coolers and a big boil kettle and all kinds of other stuff. You know, and yeah, I mean, you spend a good majority of time making sure everything is clean, everything's sanitized. You know, got to clean before you start brewing, make sure everything's straightened out. You want to clean everything up afterwards, so you don't have a big mess to clean up later. And just try and keep up with it all during the process, you know. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, clean and sanitizing. You know, we have some Star San and some IO-Star here. Both those are purchased on the daily by our home brewers.
Right, Star San is really popular.
It is, yeah. You know, for home brewing, actually, I find IO-Star sells a little more. You know, I don't know. But we do sell some Star San. Kind of preference, I guess, really. You know, I mean, Star San foams up. IO-Star really doesn't. But, you know, the IO-Star's got that iodine in there, so it, you know, it can stain if you spill it over. But, I mean, you know, then the other one's, you know, an acid base. You want to make sure it's all diluted properly. So, I mean, it's all kind of preference, really. But I use both, I guess. Just kind of depends on what's on hand. You
Very
know,
cool.
Yeah, Star San. I mean, one thing about Star San, especially if you're home brewing, we kind of want to know when you're getting into Star San is that it is kind of foamy, but don't worry about it. It looks, you know, it's fine. It just gets a little foamy.
Yeah,
it's kinda, not. You know, when you look at it, you're like, oh no, I'm not sure about that. How am I going to get that stuff out? Like,
yeah, you forgot to empty the Star San out of your beer. It's all right. It happens to the best of us, dude. And I think before we ask Noah how that translates into like the larger scheme of things, and once you start working at a bigger brewery, a macro brewery, microbreweries that are a lot larger than your home brew set, it's important, I think, to remind people that the sanitation, a lot of it has to do with just maintaining a consistent product, not necessarily that you're going to get sick if your beer, you know, gets a little bug. In fact, some are very much promoted, and some beer styles actually are, you know, were made popular by spontaneous fermentation and bugs getting into your beer. But so, you know, if you haven't homebrewed before, if you don't really know too much about the whole process, it really is just about making sure that your beer's tasting good, not necessarily running the risk of you getting sick. But that's not to say that sanitation is not a big deal, but it does make for better beer, and you don't want these bugs running around in your home brew system.
It can produce off flavors and stuff like that. You know, for beginning brewers, you know, typically, especially when I started brewing, I wasn't really, I didn't really know too much about these off flavors or how to really taste anything. And of course, everyone I gave the beer to said it was great, you know, and
of course, mom, dad,
best beer in the world, you know. Actually, I really would love to go back and taste some of my earlier beers and actually see what they actually tasted like, you know. I know. I don't know. Wait,
I'm sure they're good. They age well. Yeah, dude. You're spoiled at this point. Noah, Noah, you have an interesting story, and you haven't been on the show yet. So, for everyone listening, why don't you just say a little bit about what you do for Ballast Point and how you got into the game?
Sure. Yeah. Also, the good news is pathogens cannot grow in beer. So the worst that will happen is your beer won't taste good, or if you bottle it, it might explode. But you're not going to get sick from drinking. Well, you might get sick from drinking too much beer, but you won't get sick from drinking contaminated beer. Yeah. So anyway, hi, I'm Noah. So glad to be on the show. I never thought I would be asked.
You made it.
Yeah. Yes. I have come to the brew world from a general love of fermentation in general. I got my start on a tiny little goat dairy farm up in the Sierra Mountains when I learned how to make yogurt and cheese from the goat milk that I was milking. Thought that was freaking magical, and I wanted to know what was happening on a molecular level. So I went to UC Davis and got a degree in food science, and now I can tell you exactly what happens on a molecular level when you make cheese.
Nice.
And at Davis is when I really started to get passionate about beer. I joined the Brewers Club and I took some brewing science classes. And what really stood out to me was the yeast, because I always thought, oh well, the yeast is what makes the carbonation and makes the ethanol. But there's so much more to it than that. The yeast contributes so much flavor to the beer, and that's why there's so many different strains and different styles of beer. You need specific strains of yeast in order to achieve those. So that's when I really fell in love with beer and really yeast also. So here at Ballast Point, I'm in the quality lab. I'm on the microbiology team. So we do a lot of routine analysis. We sample the beer at every stage throughout production to make sure that the yeast strains that we want are there and that nothing else that we don't want is in our beer, so that we can give action items to the teams if something comes up, or if we're having an issue, then my role is kind of a detective. I have to think about, where did this contamination come from? You know, can we really hone in on a specific process instead of me just telling everyone, clean everything more? You know,
Right.
If we can pinpoint, like, hey, it's this particular piece of equipment, or oh, someone wrote in their end of shift email that something strange happened that day, and so that's the cause of it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's science and detective and beer.
Right. And the products that we use, the chemicals that we use at that level are significantly different than the products that a homebrewer would use at a smaller level, or what you would use to clean a surface at a kitchen or something like that, right? We're using a series of different chemicals that are pretty much tailored to interact with our vessels the right way to make sure that we're cleaning them. And throughout the course of the brewing process, you know, we're also keeping an eye on everybody's I guess procedures, or SOPs, so that we can make sure that we're not carriers, because, you know, in essence, we're always carrying something that's gonna spoil beer. The point is not getting that into our product, and that's a very delicate dance that we do as brewery workers. And I'm sure the same is in the kitchen, brother. Like, you're always carrying something and stuff. So what kind of chemicals do we use? I know 3 off the bat, obviously, but what kind of chemicals do we use in the brewery setting at, let's say, on a larger scale, to ensure that these contaminants are not getting into our stuff?
Right. Yeah. So we use a lot of different chemicals. We've got, you know, our caustic, and we've got our peracetic acid that we use to perform CIP on all of our vessels and all of our pipe work and our packaging lines. And then we also have, you know, IO or iodine solution that we soak our removable parts in to keep those sanitized. And then everyone's got a spray bottle of Alpet, which is basically concentrated ethanol and a couple other things, so that we can sanitize parts and sanitize our gloves as we're going. It's, you know, it's a no-brainer that we got to keep our vessels and our equipment that actually touch the beer clean, but general brewery environment cleanliness is also really important in preventing contaminations, because there's people, we've got bacteria and yeast all over us, and we're walking through, we know, maybe we splash some beer on our boots and then we're walking into a different part of the brewery. So, you know, keeping things like that in mind and making sure that you spray beer down the drain, don't let it dry on the floor. That's an invitation for contamination. So, and then, you know, part of my job is to think outside the box, because on paper maybe everything's going normal, but the results are, you know, there's something wrong. So what happened? Maybe someone someone who works in one area jumped on a packaging line just to fill in for a day or something. So it is really those outside the box. Could it have been, this bucket just didn't get cleaned and then it got carried throughout the brewery. So there's cool. a lot of big factors that you have to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that you get to play Sherlock Holmes every day, and just whether there's something or not, it's just there's always something to think about, scratch your head over, and yeah.
And Ballast Point, that curiosity. We got a big mural about curiosity and the future belongs to those who explore, and so I'm so lucky at Ballast Point that we get to investigate these projects in pursuit of better quality beer and greater understanding of our processes.
Right. And it's very tricky. I'm sure we all know how tricky it is at this point to kind of pinpoint where something's coming from and what to clean and what not. And one of the general rules that we had in the brewery is when in doubt, I'll pet it. When in doubt, sanitize it. When in doubt, clean the part, because a little microorganism can contaminate a lot of beer really fast. And like we were saying, even if it's a bottle that might blow up because we didn't do our due diligence to make sure that fermentation was completely done or whatever, or something got in, that's a big deal.
That's a really big deal.
That's the last thing that you want to be responsible for.
That's the last thing we want.
Yeah,
no, I've had a whole batch of beer explode on me in the bottles because I didn't do proper, most likely proper sanitation cleaning on my bottles. But it's all part of the learning process.
Right. And sometimes I think about it in your world, Cody. How it bleeds into the kitchen. It's kind of like always treat it like someone has an allergy to something, and you've just finished, working on a line that might process that,
Absolutely.
Hey, that guy has an allergy to peanuts. Even though I wasn't touching peanuts, there might be some residual stuff because you never know. You never know who's bringing what anywhere to the. So why don't you talk to us about the importance of cleaning in the kitchen?
Well, absolutely. Like you were saying, cross contamination is just because you didn't touch nuts directly or seafood or shellfish or whatever doesn't mean that it couldn't have come in contact with your clothes or your apron, and by that, you can put it on to somebody's plate or what have you. But cleanliness is always at the forefront of a kitchen, and it should be. We use, most recently we were given Alpet, but most commonly we use a quat sanitizer. So it's 4 different chemicals that come together to sanitize and keep everything, surfaces, cutting boards, food prepped items, all clean. And ready and safe for individuals that are highly allergic and gluten free or whatever dietary restrictions they may have. And through this whole COVID thing, we're kind of amping up the levels of how many times we're cleaning every day, putting out schedules every 35 to 45 minutes. We'll be sanitizing, breaking down the line, restocking, and making sure that we're as aware and prepared for everything as possible.
So in the back of the kitchen, like you said, you're already doing your due diligence as if nothing was on alert. But now that you guys have are now in this new environment that is the COVID environment, everybody listening in or watching, the point is to make sure that we're thinking about them and to remind them that although we do it every day, this is not like we're going to like we're actually starting to think about it, right? We're already doing that. But what are some of the things that have come into play at least in the back of the house, in the kitchen? What are some of the things that people can know about that have been put into the new procedures?
So most recently, we just had an all hands back of the house meeting to go over exactly this. We're going to limit the amount of bodies in the kitchen for contamination issues or, just contact for that matter. We've condensed the menu down to where there's less hands on it. We can expedite the food a lot quicker. So things aren't, people can come in and get their food, have their beer, have a great time, and in a timely fashion, enjoy themselves and depart. So, they're not exposed, and keeping the Ballast Point mantra and making sure that they come in, they have a great beer, they have a great meal, but they can also do that, at a timely way. So they're not exposed to everybody around them, and neither is our staff, so cleaning logs, we're going to institute more frequent line checks, and every half an hour, 45 minutes, like I said, we'll be, no matter how busy the restaurant is, we're going to take the time and show the team and show the staff and show the clientele that we absolutely hold their safety at the forefront of what we're doing on a daily basis, and just, it's all about safety at this point, keeping our staff safe and keeping and the clients safe as much as you possibly can. So, just making everybody aware is huge, and letting them know that this is what's happening and this is what we need to do and this is what's going to happen. And, we have a really great team, brew side, front of the house, back of the house, and everybody is really willing and on board with what we need to do to keep everybody safe,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, dude, I've looked at some of those binders that we have out back there pre-COVID. I mean, like just the general, this is what you do. And they're extensive. I mean, this is nitty gritty stuff. I mean, there's been nothing taken out of consideration. And we've just re-upped it. We made it more frequent. We made, like you said, eliminating people's proximity, obviously. So all the precautions that are being taken back of the house should let people rest assured that we're doing everything that's in our grasp to be able to be a clean, safe environment to enjoy a meal at, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and like you were going off the back of the house, we're doing temperature logs every twice a day, making sure food product is held at the correct temperature. For one, no one's getting sick, and we're doing things properly. Rotating product, things aren't sitting on the shelves. But, and moving forward, we've always upheld that standard of temperature logs. Now we're just making sure that everything we touch is, clean. Whatever we do touch, we're disposing gloves. We as a team, Kayla, our GM, is doing a fantastic job front of the house, and including us in the back of the house to make sure everybody's aware and everybody is doing everything they possibly can to make sure this thing stops at the front door.
Dude, that's amazing. And I think that that's so reassuring for people to hear, because even me, man, even us, as we're consumers, I mean, we're guests at other spots.
Right.
And we want to make sure that the establishment, as much as we might like to think that everyone's doing things the right way, we're at that point right now where we just need to make sure. And, and knowing that we have a team of people from different departments or whatever you do for the company, you're taking that extra step to make sure that you can kind of sleep comfortable at night, knowing that we're not responsible for any of that stuff. We're crossing all our T's and dotting on our I's. I think that's huge for people going into this new world. Hey, and we have an extensive COVID plan, right? Noah and Jason on the brew side, like some of the stuff that we've already done. You guys want to talk a little bit about what we've already implemented? And
as far as everything and just being the social distancing and everyone here, we've been keeping it so pretty minimal on the staffing here, just so we can keep everyone nice and comfortable in the social distancing. Everyone wears masks. We got the gloves. We have sanitizers everywhere. One cool thing about being here in the home brew shop too is that we do have a bunch of sanitation and cleaners around here. So that's all over the place. I mean, we are cleaning the tables. We're cleaning the stanchions that have been sitting outside that we just brought in. We sanitize all those. The table. We have this table system propped outside the door, so you hand everything right to you. Everything's marked out outside for everyone to kind of stay apart from each other. We got a pretty good system around here. It's actually been working really nice. It's come together really nice, and our customers have been very, very great with this whole thing. Very understanding, and we're all in the same boat right now. So, we all kind of understand what's going on. And it's nice to have them come and just be really thankful that we're still here open for them to grab their stuff, and that we're taking these precautions and making sure everything's clean and sanitized and when you give it to them,
Yeah, I've just been hearing people sing your praises for those online grain preps. I mean, I know that you guys, Jim. I mean, I've swung by while you guys are prepping those grain orders, and I mean, I can't say it's easy. It doesn't look easy, going the full sanitation suit and weighing out these orders for people so that they can continue homebrewing. They continue, you don't have to lose that. You're stuck at home. What do you want to do? You want to homebrew. You can't come into the store, pick out your ingredients.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's homebrewing right now. We're getting a lot of business on that side.
That is
a
awesome.
lot of new homebrewers too. And it's kind of new homebrewers and to come and ask questions and stuff. And it's that's something kind of we try and minimize as much interaction with everyone, especially lining up outside and all this. So we're trying to make it all work, and we still sling these brew kits. I sold one today.
Nice.
And I talked to them over the phone a little bit about home brewing, just kind of gave them the basics. I couldn't really type the phones too much, but it was something that I felt was, I had to talk about over the phone as opposed to an email, and I don't like to do too much interaction as far as physically talking with them outside or anything, Of course, everyone's, make sure everyone's got to keep their masks on, Some people, kind of forget or whatnot. Say, hey, just put the mask on. Everyone's been pretty cool with it, which is really nice. But yeah, I got a brew kit out today, and what's cool is that like our instruction books that we have in the kits and the recipes they're laid out very easily. I mean, if you've never brewed before, I mean, you can literally just open this, read a few pages, read the recipe, you got it down. But we do offer them to call here and talk to anybody here, and it happens every day. Someone's calling about some home brewing questions, or in the middle of it. Actually, no, today someone called about the fermentation. They're like, it stopped getting all crazy and bubbling. I'm like, you know what, you're fine. It has a few days of it doing that. It kind of
contaminated.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to check. You don't have to check you do have to check the temperature.
But
good, man. That's very cool. And it's very nice that people can still, either continue their hobby or pick up on a new hobby. We're here for you. The team down in Homebrew Mart has been on fire, and we've been maneuvering this the whole way through. I've been very impressed with the team down there. You guys are doing the Lord's work.
We've got a good system down here, and Jim, our general manager, he's actually, that guy's a rock star, man.
What's happening?
What's happening? He was out here for quite some time by himself, handling this whole thing.
It's good.
Wow. And that was crazy. Just having a couple people here, a few extra hands on board here, it can get a little overwhelming sometimes. So, having him here by himself for a short time, he handled it pretty good, man. So
you guys are rock stars. You guys are rock stars. But you know what? I mean, I think that a lot of what's on people's minds right now is what's going to be my experience going into an establishment, right? Like, what are the implications for me? And I think we're going to cover that in some future episodes about what all this actually means for you. But I think that a great representation of a company to let you rest easy that we're taking you into consideration is the way that we're taking our employees into consideration, how we're taking each other into consideration, right? So a lot of the back of the house stuff to keep all the employees safe actually, has some it's a good sign for anybody that's our customer, what they might expect when they come into our doors. And Noah, I know that we've been making a lot of movements in the back of the house, and there's been a lot more hand washing stations, sanitizing stations, outfit bottles. Yeah, you want to speak a little bit on some of the stuff that we've done back there?
Yeah, I can tell you about what the changes that have happened, and I can definitely tell you that I feel like Ballast Point as a company really cares about their employees and is doing its best to make us feel safe. Like I feel like BP has my back,
Right.
Which is really great. They really, we just got new bosses basically, and like right out the gate, they really care about us, and they want us to feel safe coming to the brewery. And so I'm wearing gloves all the time. A lot of people are wearing gloves a lot, and changing them out regularly. There's an Alpet bottle on every forklift because a lot of different people will drive the same forklift throughout the day, and so that just makes it really easy for someone when they're done using it to just wipe down the steering wheel and the seat and all the gear shifts so that it's nice and sanitized for the next person. We're doing social distancing. People that have the ability to work from home are encouraged to work from home. All of the office staff upstairs, they're all working from home. I'm working from home about 60% of the time now too. A lot of people are, we're more staggering our shifts so that there's less overlap. And we get, update emails with, here's what's going on, here's what we're planning to roll out, but we care about your safety. We're going to do this slowly. We're going to do this the right way. We're not going to open up immediately. We want to make sure that we've got a game plan in place so that we can do this and feel good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, the points of contact between an employee and any object or each other, whatever, they have all been taken into consideration with this new COVID plan. I mean,
yeah, we've got
extensive.
people going around and wiping down door handles every hour, like it's,
yeah.
And we've got extra hand washing stations, even a time clock. There's an outlet bottle and some IPA wipes right next to the time clock so that you can sanitize that before and after touching it. So that there's limit contact.
Right. We're even taking all our distribution guys into consideration. Our truck drivers, we're limiting check-ins with those guys. They're not coming into the office anymore. And although
we're asking them to stay in their cabs.
Yeah. And although that's kind of everyone's not happy about it because we've built relationships with these people over the years, and it's kind of unfortunate to be like, hey, you have to stay in your car for this one and stuff. But everyone's on the same page about flattening the curve and making this go away, or at least getting it under control. And like I said earlier, I think that our new owners, Kings and Convicts, Kevin, head of HR, like all of these guys have really stepped up to the plate. And in a time where everyone's just nervous because who knows what this is, experts don't even know what it is, they've made us feel like we're in a safe space. So the chemicals that we use for different departments have been very defined, not to be crossed and stuff like that. So everything is being taken into consideration. We've even been limiting crossover from front of the house to the back house. Any unnecessary crossing is just off the table right now. And it's helping us work a lot more efficiently. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely. For us.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, we were talking today and as much as we love the brew side guys, we pretty much have to keep each department in its own facility. We can't step into the brew side and enjoy the pool table in the break room and all that good stuff. So we have to really confine to our own domain, and it's not only for our safety but for the guys next door to us, and just doing everything we can to limit as much activity and one-on-one interaction with other, not only team members but front of the house staff and guests as well. So it's just, kind of mind your own and all this will pass. Yeah.
Jason, what were you going to say?
No, I mean, just as far as just efficiency and streamlining stuff here, it's I've definitely noticed that. Well, I mean, one thing we have less people, working here than our other locations. And we're really just kind of operating out of the home brew side, really. But right now, I'm just this whole online ordering process we have. I've kind of happy and surprised to see how quickly it really came together, how efficient it is. Of course, you have a bunch of guys working here are definitely used to going around and grabbing the grains. I mean, I could probably pull out a scoop and hit 2 pounds exactly on the first try.
Muscle memory, bro. You're natural.
Yeah, I could grab someone's recipe, and have it ready for them in just a few minutes, which has been pretty nice.
I bet.
Luckily, we have the huge support from our customers right now, and it's been really awesome to have that. And everyone's pretty understanding, and just thankful that we're here for them. And we're definitely thankful that they're still here for us coming around.
Yeah.
And we actually are still making new customers here. I mean, I have customers come up who've never had our beers. We get them some crowlers. Again, brand new home brewers coming up. So we're still getting a really, a good amount of new customers coming in to our spot, and we have to be, we're the face of the, everyone here working is the face of the company, we got to make sure that we give them a great experience and they're happy when they're walking away smiling. And I think we're all doing a very good job at doing that right now.
And you could tell they're smiling because they wrinkle up a little bit right here. That's how you know that they're smiling. Right? Yeah. Well, look, dude, I guess at the end of the day, we've made the best kind of outcome with what was dealt to us so far. And I'm gonna say this again because I think that it's helped us get through this as a company, as employees go, that we've felt like Ballast Point has really kind of had our back, like Noah said. I just want to touch on a little bit on some of the benefits and some of the offerings that were given to us by the leadership team and the company. I mean, like, we have a place to go. We have people to talk to. A lot of as far as our insurance goes, they've all banded together and they've made these experiences a lot more facilitated. They've really stepped up to the plate and made sure that we're in a safe work environment so that we can continue making some delicious beer so that you guys out there, unfortunately, the ones that might not have a place to go or did not have a place to go for a long time could at least sit back and maybe enjoy a couple of our beers, knowing that we're taking the same precautions, making the same beer, making the same delicious food. It's just, there's a few less cooks in the kitchen, brewers in the brewery, and stuff like that. So I think that it speaks a lot of our organization, and I'm sure that anybody listening into this episode that can resonate with this, they feel the same way. Like, thank the community for showing up. Thanks everybody that didn't fall off in this moment, in this time of crisis, and in fact they stepped up to the plate to show a lot of local support. We've benefited a lot from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beer brings people together, that's for sure. And I just me on my end, just the friends I've made with the customers. I didn't know who these people were before I started working here, and then we connected on home brewing, and now it's a lot of these people I'm actually friends with now.
Yeah,
it's really it's awesome. I mean, they went from customers to friends of mine, and I've never really had a job that was like that. Every job I've had was just customers, and then that's it. But this is really only the first job I've had where the customers come in, and then we actually create a really good relationship, and then become friends afterwards.
It's the beauty of our industry, man. It's the beauty of the culinary industry. It's the beauty of the brewing industry, the service industry.
A good culture here within Ballast Point, and then just San Diego beer community in general. It's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's moments like these, although we don't wish them upon anybody, it's moments like these that, we have to step up to the plate for each other and show exactly what we're about. And when times are good and the beer's flowing and the food is coming off that line, it's really easy to take it for granted. And then it's moments like these that we get to really, think about what it's all about, right? And why we're doing it. And what we're doing is we're creating less crappy times for people. And
Absolutely.
And I think we're doing a good job. And you guys are doing your job, man. You guys are doing a great job.
Just to elaborate a little bit, Jeff, about what you're saying about the company we work for, one of the great things that we've experienced in the back of the house was the grocery orders for employees. So
that was amazing.
Employees that weren't able to go to the store or, didn't want to go out and risk it, they were able to reach out to Ballast Point, Miramar, Long Beach, and I believe Little Italy, and place a produce order, meat order for anything they wanted that we could provide. We teamed up with Cisco, and we were able to take care of our own team, which I haven't seen or heard of any other company doing anything like that. So that alone in itself was just something that the company does that you have to be nothing but thankful for. And like you said,
Definitely.
it just, these are times that, they're struggling, but we get to sit back like this and be thankful for the company we work for and all the offerings that they provide for not only us, but for everybody during this time.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Cody, because that was a really nice gesture. It's like unheard of, like you said. And again, if we're a company that does that for ourselves, and we extend even, the same courtesy to all of our fans and our consumers out there. Cody, we're going to start rethinking our beer dinners. Okay, dude?
Absolutely.
We're going to think about the food. We're going to think about the beer, and then we're going to think about the soundtrack. Okay. Jason's going to be our go-to guy for the soundtrack.
Jason, you gotta come over when this quarantine is over. I have my mom's original Sticky Fingers album.
Oh, dude, you know what? Okay,
yeah, the zipper and all.
That's a whole other episode you guys get into.
I have that too. That's awesome, dude. Yeah,
dude. And then we're gonna take Jason. Jason, you're gonna take the soundtrack. Cody and I will make the beer and food. And Noah, you're gonna be responsible for the dish that has goat cheese on it. We'll come to you and we'll be like, "Yo, we need to put some goat cheese in something. What are we doing there?" Hey, listen, guys.
If you ever want to do a beer and cheese pairing dinner, call me.
Boom, the guy right off the farm.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, guys, we're going to have to wrap. I didn't know we can talk so much about cleaning, but we did. And I think it was very beneficial for anybody listening in to know the extent to which we're taking this. It's very serious, and we don't want anybody to be thinking over there that we're not. So I'm glad that we got a chance to get together and talk about the precautions that we're taking and the new protocols. So you guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys and everything that you guys do for the company. And we're in this together, my friends. Cheers. Salud. Come on, everybody. I warned you. There's a little
empty. I got empty, man.
All right, we'll let it slide. Hey, there you go. Jason has two. All right.
Jason's got one for you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
See, I told you we could make cleaning fun. Anything's fun with a couple of beers in your hand. So thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Cody and his team. They're at the Miramar Kitchen. Shout out to Jason and his team at Homebrew Mart. And shout out to Noah, the QC lab, and everybody still cranking that beer out. We're working really hard to make sure that you guys keep on enjoying our stuff and you guys feel safe doing it. So follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and watch us on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. You guys, we'll see you next time.